He's coming back. 3 words glowed on Kang Jae-min's screen at 11:47 p.m., sent from a number he didn't recognize. He should have deleted it, should have returned to the men waiting in the next room. Men who'd flown from Seoul to discuss territories worth millions. Men who didn't appreciate being kept waiting. Instead, his thumb hovered over the message. Something in those words tasted familiar. Metallic. Like fear that's moved past screaming into something quieter, more final. Another text arrived. He locked me in the storage room. I can hear him outside. Please help. Jaemin's jaw tightened. The room across the table went silent. His lieutenants had learned to read the shift in his breathing. In the Korean underworld, Kang Jae-min was a name whispered with the same reverence reserved for winter storms and loaded guns. He'd built his empire on calculated violence and strategic silence. Men twice his age bowed when he entered rooms. Police looked the other way when his name appeared in files. But that message, those desperate, fragmented words, they didn't know who he was, didn't know his reputation. They just knew he was the last number dialed before the world went dark. His phone buzzed again. This time, an audio file. Against every instinct that had kept him alive in this business, he pressed play. Shallow breathing, the scrape of metal against concrete. Then a whisper so soft he had to strain to hear it. I'm sorry. I know this isn't your number. I couldn't remember anyone else's. The voice cracked on the last word: young, female, American, and terrified in a way that sent him hurtling back 8 years, to another voice, another plea he'd arrived too late to answer. His sister's voice. The meeting's postponed, Jae-min said, standing abruptly. His chair scraped against marble with a sound like a blade being drawn. Sir? His second-in-command, Min-ho, looked between him and the closed door, where millions in negotiations waited. The Seoul delegation. Tell them I'll compensate their travel. Generously. Jae-min was already pulling on his coat, checking the clip in his shoulder holster with practiced efficiency. Location services. Track this number. Min-ho knew better than to argue when his boss's voice dropped into that register. The one that meant someone was about to bleed. On it. But sir, you don't even know this person. It could be... I know fear. Jae-min cut him off, eyes fixed on his screen where a new message appeared. I can see his shadow under the door. The location pinged. Bellamar Hotel, downtown, 12 minutes away. Jae-min was moving before the map fully loaded, his empire momentarily forgotten, his carefully constructed control fracturing around a single, undeniable truth. Some sounds you can't unhear, some silences you can't ignore. Not twice. His Maserati's engine roared to life as another text came through. Just 2 words that turned his blood to ice water. He's coming back. Jae-min's foot slammed the accelerator, and Seoul's midnight streets blurred into streaks of neon. Behind him, millions in deals collapsed. Ahead, a stranger's life hung by a thread. He'd failed to answer his sister's call. This time, he was going to be early. The basement of the Bellamar Hotel smelled like bleach and desperation. Amara Cole pressed herself against the cold metal shelving, phone clutched in trembling hands, watching the shadow beneath the door shift and pause. Grant Holloway was out there, her supervisor, her tormentor, the man who'd smiled at customers while cornering her in empty hallways for months. Tonight he'd stopped smiling. I know you're scared, Amara. His voice slithered through the gap, syrup sweet and rotten, but you're making this harder than it needs to be. I just want to talk. Her lip was split from where he'd shoved her against the doorframe. Her wrist throbbed where his fingers had left bruises shaped like ownership. The fluorescent light above flickered, casting her hiding spot in seizure-inducing strobes of yellow and shadow. She'd tried calling 911 twice. No signal in the basement. The hotel's concrete walls were a tomb, so she'd scrolled through her contacts with shaking fingers. Mom, deceased. Dad, unknown. Emergency services, unreachable, until she'd hit a number she didn't recognize. Probably a wrong digit saved months ago. Probably no one. But drowning people don't question the debris they cling to. The door handle rattled. Come out and I'll forget this happened. Keep hiding, and I'll make sure you never work in this city again. Your choice, sweetheart. Amara's phone vibrated. A response from the stranger. Where are you? Exact location. Her fingers flew across the screen. Bellamar Hotel. Basement storage. Door C7. Please hurry. The handle stopped rattling. Silence worse than threats. Grant was thinking, planning. The fluorescent light steadied, And in that harsh illumination, Amara saw the fire extinguisher mounted on the far wall. Not a weapon, a distraction. She typed one more message. I'm not going quietly. Then she grabbed the extinguisher. Jae-min's Maserati skidded into the Bellamar's loading zone at 12:03 a.m. tires screaming against asphalt. He was out before the engine died, shoulder holster heavy beneath his coat. Minho's voice crackling through his earpiece. Basement access is through the kitchen. Security cameras show one male blocking door C7. No movement for 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Lifetimes could end in 90 seconds. Jae-min moved through the hotel like a bullet past the startled night clerk, through the kitchen where a line cook dropped his knife, down the service stairs 3 at a time. His mind had gone quiet, crystalline. This was the state that made him dangerous. No rage, no fear, just absolute clarity of purpose. He'd promised himself after his sister died never again. The basement hallway stretched before him, a tunnel of industrial gray. At the far end, a man in a manager's uniform stood with his back to a door, adjusting his belt with the casualness of someone who believed himself untouchable. Jae-min's footsteps echoed once. Grant Holloway turned, irritation flashing across his face. This area is restricted. You need to... The words died as he registered what was walking toward him. Not a lost guest, not hotel security, something else entirely. Step away from the door. Jae-min's voice carried the weight of Seoul's underworld, soft, precise, and absolutely final. Grant's hand moved toward his pocket. Listen, I don't know who you think. The fire extinguisher exploded through the door from inside, white foam erupting in a chemical cloud. The door burst open, and Amara Cole stumbled out bleeding, bruised, magnificent in her refusal to surrender. She saw Jae-min, saw Grant, saw the choice between monsters, and chose to keep fighting. Her elbow drove into Grant's throat before either man could move. He staggered, choking, and Amara ran not away, but toward the stranger who'd answered her impossible prayer. Jae-min caught her as she collapsed, and for one suspended moment, their eyes met. Hers, dark brown, terror-bright, alive. His, black as Seoul midnight, recognizing the fighter she'd had to become. I've got you, he said, and meant it with an intensity that terrified them both. Behind them, Grant Holloway started to rise, started to speak, started to make the fatal mistake of thinking this night could end any way but one. Jae-min's expression didn't change. You should run. Grant Holloway didn't run, didn't even flinch. You're making a mistake. He straightened his manager's blazer, playing at authority like it was armor. This is my employee. Clearly disturbed. I was trying to help when she attacked me. Jae-min cut him off by stepping forward, positioning Amara behind him with a gentleness that contradicted everything about his presence. Up close, Grant could see details he'd missed. The tailored suit that cost more than 6 months' salary, the tattoo creeping above the collar, the absolute absence of fear in eyes that had watched men die. Help, Jae-min repeated, tasting the word like poison. You lock women in basements to help them? Grant's composure cracked. Who the hell are you? Someone who answers wrong numbers. Jae-min's hand moved inside his coat, not drawing, just reminding. Someone who doesn't like being lied to. Security! Grant's voice pitched high, desperate. Security! No one came. Minho had seen to that cameras looped, guards relocated, witnesses conveniently absent. In the Mafia, you learn to clear rooms before blood hit tile. Amara's fingers clutched Jae-min's jacket. Please. I just want to leave. Something in her voice not begging, but exhausted beyond begging, made the decision for him. Jae-min had come here ready to kill. Had the weapon, the justification, the cold machinery of violence already spinning up, but when he glanced back at Amara, saw fear flickering in her eyes, not of Grant anymore, but of what Jae-min might become, he remembered his sister's last words. Don't let this city make you into them. Too late for that. But maybe not too late for this. Jae-min's hand emerged from his coat, holding nothing but a business card. He pressed it against Grant's chest hard enough to leave a mark. You have 24 hours to disappear from this city. Transfer, resign, vanish. I don't care which. Grant laughed, a broken sound. You can't just... 23 hours? 59 minutes. Jae-min leaned in close, voice dropping to a register that bypassed the brain and spoke directly to the survival instinct. If I see you again, I won't be this generous, and you won't see me coming. The words hung in the chemical-scented air, a promise and a prophecy. Grant's bladder threatened to betray him. Whatever this man was, mob, mercenary, monster, he meant every syllable. Jae-min turned away, dismissing him like a used napkin. "Can you walk?" he asked Amara. She nodded, though her legs trembled. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere safe. Somewhere you choose to stay." He offered his arm, not demanding, just available. "Somewhere with doors you can lock from the inside." Amara hesitated. Every instinct screamed, warnings: don't trust strange men. Don't get in cars with strangers. Don't mistake rescue for safety. But Grant was already edging toward the stairs. And the basement suddenly felt like a grave. She took Jaemin's arm. The penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of the Songdo Tower in Gangnam, glass and steel suspended above the city like a kingdom in the clouds. Amara stood in the entry hall, bleeding onto marble that probably cost more than her annual salary, trying to process the impossible architecture of her new reality. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased Seoul's glittering sprawl. Modern art that looked important covered the walls. Everything was sharp angles and muted luxury, beautiful in the way knives were beautiful. Guest rooms this way. Jae-min moved through the space with practiced efficiency, not touching her but staying close enough to catch her if she fell. Private bathroom, first aid kit in the cabinet, locks on both doors, bedroom and bathroom. He pushed open a door to reveal a space larger than her entire apartment. The bed could sleep 4. The attached bathroom had heated floors. "I don't understand," Amara whispered. Jae-min paused in the doorway, backlit by the hallway's soft glow. "What part?" "Any of it. Why you came. Why you're helping. Why you didn't." She gestured vaguely toward the basement, toward violence deferred. "Kill him?" Jaemin's expression remained neutral, but something flickered behind his eyes. "I wanted to. Still want to, if I'm honest." "Then why didn't you?" He looked at her, really looked, taking in the split lip, the forming bruises, the way she held herself like a woman who'd learned to make herself small. "Because you were afraid of what I might do. And I've spent enough time being the thing people fear." The admission hung between them, raw and unexpected. "The locks," he continued, nodding toward the doors. "They work from inside. I can't get in unless you let me. This is your space now, for however long you need it. No strings, no payment, just safety." Amara's eyes burned. When was the last time someone offered her safety without demanding something in return? "Why?" she asked again, simpler this time. Jaemin's jaw tightened. "Because someone once needed help, and I didn't answer in time. I won't make that mistake twice." He turned to leave, then stopped. "There's food in the kitchen. Clothes in the dresser should fit my assistant's size. If you need anything, there's an intercom by the bed. What's your name?" The question escaped before Amara could stop it. "Jae-min. Kang Jae-min." "I'm Amara. Amara Cole." He nodded, committing it to memory. "Rest, Amara Cole. Tomorrow we'll figure out everything else." The door closed with a soft click. Amara stood alone in luxury that felt like a cage built from kindness, listening to her rescuer's footsteps fade down the hall. Only when silence settled completely did she notice her hands had stopped shaking. 3 days passed like a fever dream breaking. Amara woke the first morning expecting nightmare: the basement. Grant's voice, the metallic taste of fear. Instead, she found sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee drifting from somewhere beyond her locked door. The bruises on her wrist had deepened to purple-black. Her reflection showed a split lip, healing crooked. But the eyes staring back held something she hadn't seen in months: the possibility of tomorrow. A note had been slipped under her door. "Breakfast on the terrace when you're ready. No rush. J.M." She found him there an hour later, dressed in dark slacks and a white shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows, reading a Korean newspaper while steam rose from 2 coffee cups. Morning light softened his features, made him look almost ordinary. Almost. "You came," he said, not looking up. "Did you think I wouldn't? I thought you might run." Now he met her eyes, and she saw he'd meant it. Most people do, eventually. Amara sat, accepting the coffee he slid toward her. "Most people don't owe you their life. You don't owe me anything. That's the point." They ate in comfortable silence. Eggs, toast, fruit she couldn't name. The city sprawled below them, oblivious to the strange sanctuary floating above it. "Tell me about her," Amara said finally. "The person you couldn't save." Jaemin's hand stilled on his cup. For a long moment, she thought he'd shut down, retreat behind the mask of control she'd glimpsed in the basement. Instead, he spoke. "Her name was Min Seo, my younger sister." His voice carried the weight of old grief, the kind that never fully heals. 16 when she died. I was 22. Building something I thought was important. Reputation, territory, respect, all the things that matter in my world. He paused, staring at something Amara couldn't see. She called me one night. Said she needed help. A boy at school was following her, wouldn't take no for an answer. I told her I was busy, told her I'd handle it tomorrow. The silence that followed was suffocating. Tomorrow, I found her in the Han River. The words came out flat, drained of emotion through years of repetition. The boy had friends. They'd decided to teach her a lesson about refusing the wrong person. Amara's throat constricted. Jae-min. I built an empire after that. He looked at her now, eyes black and bottomless. Became the monster I'd been playing at. Made sure no one in Seoul could touch my people without consequences. Spent 15 years perfecting violence, control, fear. Is that why you came? When I texted? I came because your message sounded like hers. Same fear, same desperation. And I couldn't. His voice caught, the first crack in his composure. I couldn't fail again. Amara reached across the table, her hand covering his. His fingers were scarred, warm, trembling almost imperceptibly. You didn't fail, she said. You saved me. Did I? Or did I just delay the inevitable? He didn't pull away from her touch, but didn't return it either. Men like Grant don't change. They find new victims. And my world. He gestured vaguely at the penthouse, the city, the empire lurking beneath expensive surfaces. It's not safe. Not for anyone close to me. Safer than the basement. He smiled then. A small, broken thing. Low bar, Amara Cole. The days began to blur together. Amara healed body first, then something deeper. Jae-min kept his distance, respectful to the point of invisibility. She'd catch glimpses of his life. Men in suits arriving for hushed meetings, phone calls in rapid Korean, the shoulder holster he wore like a second skin. But in the mornings, on the terrace, he was just a man drinking coffee and reading the news. What do you do? She asked on the 5th day. For work, I mean. Import-export, he said, which was technically true and comprehensively false. Liar. He looked up, surprised. What makes you say that? Import-export businessmen don't have armed guards. Don't make people flinch when they enter rooms. Don't carry guns to breakfast meetings. Jae-min set down his newspaper. You've been paying attention. Hard not to. Amara met his gaze steadily. So what do you really do? He could have lied, should have lied, but something about her directness, the way she asked without fear, made him choose truth. I run an organization, he said carefully. We operate in gray areas, sometimes black ones. Import-export is part of it, but not the part that matters. You're a criminal. Yes. The word hung between them, simple and devastating. Amara absorbed it, turned it over, examined it from angles she hadn't considered. Have you killed people? Yes. Will you kill Grant if he doesn't leave? Jae-min's expression hardened. If he threatens you again? Without hesitation. She should have been terrified, should have run. Every survival instinct should have been screaming. Instead, she felt something warm and dangerous unfurling in her chest. That should scare me, she said quietly. It should. He leaned forward, giving her the honesty she deserved. I'm not a good man, Amara. I've done things that would horrify you. Built my empire on violence and fear. The only reason I'm being gentle now is because I choose to be, but that choice is fragile. Everyone's choices are fragile. She didn't look away. You could have hurt me that first night. Could have demanded payment for your help. Could have been just another monster. But you weren't. Yet. Ever, she corrected with a certainty that surprised them both. The moment stretched, charged with something neither could name. Jae-min's eyes dropped to her lips, then away, jaw tightening with restraint. You should keep the door locked, he said, standing abruptly. Not because I'd hurt you, because I'm starting to want things I have no right to want. He left before she could respond, disappearing into the penthouse like smoke. Amara sat alone on the terrace, heart pounding, realizing with crystal clarity that she'd stopped seeing him as her rescuer and started seeing him as something far more dangerous. That night, she couldn't sleep. Wandered the penthouse in darkness, running fingers over expensive surfaces, trying to reconcile luxury with violence, kindness with criminality. Voices drifted from Jae-min's office, his and another man's, speaking Korean. She shouldn't have listened, should have respected privacy, but the word boss carried across languages. She pressed closer, Ear to the door. Petrov's making moves in Gangnam, the other man said in accented English, probably for someone's benefit. Wants to know if you're weakening. Words out, you left a Seoul delegation waiting to save some girl. Girl. The dismissal stung. Petrov can wait. Jaemin's voice, hard as Seoul winter. What about Holloway? Caught him at Incheon airport this morning. Tried to board a flight to Tokyo. Silence. Then, tried. Minho convinced him Seoul was healthier. He's disappeared properly now. Won't be a problem. Amara's breath caught. Convinced. Such a gentle word for what she suspected had happened. And the witness? Jae-min asked. The girl? A pause. Boss, you can't keep her. Eventually she'll figure out what you are. Then what? Then she leaves. Or she stays. But that's her choice. With respect, sir, when has anyone close to you had a real choice? The question landed like a blade. Amara stepped back from the door, mind reeling. Boss. Organization. Petrov. Minho. Pieces clicking into place, forming a picture she'd been deliberately avoiding. Kang Jae-min wasn't just a criminal. He was a mafia boss, the kind Seoul whispered about. The kind who built empires on broken bones and disappeared problems. The kind who'd saved her life, then offered her safety in a gilded cage she was only now realizing might have a lock on the outside too. She ran back to her room, pulse hammering, and did exactly what he'd told her to do from the beginning. Locked the door. But this time, she wasn't sure who she was locking out, the monsters outside, or the one she was terrified of wanting. The note waited on the kitchen counter, next to a cup of coffee gone cold. I know what you are. I can't be part of this world. Thank you for saving me. I'm sorry. Jae-min stood motionless, still wearing yesterday's clothes, the paper trembling in his hand. Behind him, Minho shifted uncomfortably. She left early this morning, took nothing but the clothes on her back. Did you follow her? To her sister's apartment in Mapo. She's safe. Safe. The word tasted like ash. Jae-min crumpled the note, then smoothed it out again, unable to destroy even this small piece of her. Good, he said, voice empty. That's good. It wasn't good. It was necessary. Smart. The rational choice. It was destroying him. Boss. Viktor Petrov's people hit the warehouse in Incheon last night. 4 casualties. They're pushing hard while they think you're distracted. Jae-min looked at Minho as if seeing him from underwater. Then we push back. Call the captains. Full mobilization. If Petrov wants war, we'll give him one he'll choke on. Sir, are you sure? Do it. The command cracked through the penthouse. And Minho? Make it loud. Make it visible. I want every syndicate in Seoul to understand what happens when they mistake mercy for weakness. Minho bowed and left, leaving Jae-min alone with the coffee cup and the ghost of her presence. He'd known she would leave. Had seen it in her eyes when she overheard that conversation. Watched the truth reshape everything she thought she understood. You couldn't build intimacy on half-truths and expect it to survive daylight. But knowing didn't make it hurt less. His phone buzzed. Security footage from the lobby. Amara walking out at 6:47 a.m., looking back once at the elevator before pushing through the doors into morning rain. He watched it 17 times before forcing himself to stop. 3 weeks bled into 4. Amara tried to rebuild normal. Found a job at a bookstore in Hongdae, far from hotels and managers and basements. Stayed with her sister Ji-won in a cramped apartment that smelled like kimchi and secondhand smoke. You look like hell, Ji-won observed over breakfast. I'm fine. You've lost weight. Don't sleep. Keep staring at your phone like you're expecting a call. I said I'm fine. Ji-won's eyes narrowed. This about that guy? The one who saved you? Amara's coffee suddenly required intense focus. I don't want to talk about him. So it is about him. Her sister leaned forward. Amara, whatever happened. He's a criminal, Unni. Like actual organized crime. I heard him talking about territories and hits and... Her voice cracked. He saved me, and I started to feel things I shouldn't feel. And I had to leave before I became someone I don't recognize. Do you miss him? The question landed with surgical precision. Every day, Amara whispered. Every goddamn day. And that terrifies me more than anything Grant ever did. Because Grant's violence had been simple, comprehensible. But Jae-min had been gentle while being deadly, had offered safety while being the most dangerous thing in her life. He'd made her want to stay in a world she knew would consume her. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart seized. But it was just spam. It was always spam. Jae-min never called. In Gangnam, empires collided. Petrov's Russians hit a shipment in Busan. Jaemin's people retaliated by burning a warehouse in Itaewon. Bodies appeared in the Han River with increasing frequency. The police, well paid to look elsewhere, suddenly found urgent business in other districts. Seoul's underworld watched with held breath as two titans circled each other, waiting for the killing blow. "You're being reckless," Minho said, surveying damage from the latest exchange. "This isn't like you. You plan, you calculate, you win through strategy. Now you're just bleeding." Jae-min stood in the ruins of what had been a profitable nightclub, smoke still rising from collapsed beams. "Maybe I'm tired of strategy. You're tired of being alone." Minho's voice softened, a dangerous thing between men in their world. "Boss, she left because she was smart. Because she saw what staying would cost. You taught her to protect herself, and she did. You should be proud." "I am." Jaemin's hands curled into fists. "I'm also furious and heartbroken, and so goddamn tired of doing the right thing. Then do the wrong thing. Call her. Tell her the truth." "What truth? That I'm a killer who wants to keep her in a penthouse like a bird in a cage? That every day she stays near me increases the chance someone uses her to hurt me?" He laughed, bitter and sharp. "She deserves better than the truth. She deserves a choice." Before Jae-min could respond, his phone rang. "Private number." He answered, expecting Petrov's usual threats. Instead, a voice he'd thought he'd never hear again, cracked and terrified. "Jae-min, help." The line went dead. Amara woke to darkness and the smell of gasoline. She'd been walking home from the bookstore, cutting through the alley behind the apartment. Stupid, she knew. But it was faster, and she'd been thinking about him again, distracted by memories of terrace mornings and coffee, and the way he looked at her like she was something precious. Then hands, grabbing. A cloth over her mouth, chemical sweet, the world tilting sideways. Now, concrete floor, zip-tied wrists, a single bulb swaying overhead, warehouse maybe. She could hear traffic in the distance, muffled and wrong. "She's awake." Russian accent, thick and amused. "Good." Wanted her conscious for the call. A man crouched in front of her 50s, gray at the temples, expensive suit incongruous with the setting. His smile was a predator's smile, practiced and cold. Amara Cole, the waitress who broke Kang Jae-min's concentration. Viktor Petrov studied her like an interesting specimen. "He left a meeting worth millions for you. Started a war over you. I admit, I'm curious what makes you so special." Amara's mouth tasted like copper and chemicals. "I'm nobody." "Nobody?" Petrov laughed. "Nobody doesn't make the Wolf of Gangnam lose his mind. Nobody doesn't get men killed and territories burned." He produced a phone. Her phone, scrolled through contacts. "Let's see if nobody can make him come running again." He dialed, put it on speaker. 1 ring, 2. Then Jaemin's voice, wary. "Who is this?" Petrov held the phone to Amara's face. "Tell him." She should have stayed silent, should have been strong, but fear and desperation made her honest. "Jae-min, help." Petrov ended the call, tucked the phone away. "Perfect. Now we wait." "He won't come," Amara said, trying to believe it. "I left him. He doesn't care anymore." Petrov's smile widened. "We'll see." Outside, the city continued its indifferent rotation. Inside the warehouse, Amara counted her heartbeats and prayed she was wrong about how much Jae-min still cared. Prayed, and simultaneously hoped, with everything she had, that he'd prove her wrong. Jae-min's office erupted into controlled chaos within 60 seconds of the call disconnecting. "Trace it." His voice had gone beyond cold into something crystalline and lethal. "I don't care if you have to hack every cell tower in Seoul. Find her." Minho was already on 3 phones simultaneously, barking orders in Korean and English. "Tech team's on it. Voice analysis confirms it's her. Background noise suggests industrial area, near traffic. Petrov." Jaemin's hands were steady as he checked his weapon, muscle memory from 15 years of violence taking over. This has his fingerprints all over it. "Boss, you can't just storm in. Watch me." It's a trap. He wants you emotional, reckless, wants you to come in hot so he can end this war with your body in a warehouse. Jae-min's eyes met Minho's, and what the lieutenant saw there made him step back. Not rage. Rage was hot, messy. This was something colder. The Wolf of Gangnam, the monster Seoul whispered about. The thing Jae-min kept leashed with civilization's thin chains. The chains were breaking. "Then he'll get his wish," Jae-min said softly. "Call every captain, every soldier we have. I want Petrov's known locations hit simultaneously. Warehouses, clubs, Safe houses, burn them all. And find me where he's keeping her. Sir, that's scorched earth. The police won't ignore that level of violence. I don't care. Jae-min chambered around, the sound sharp in the tense air. I failed my sister because I chose business over blood. I lost Amara because I thought distance would keep her safe. I'm done choosing wrong. His phone buzzed. The tech team, faster than expected. Got it. Signal bounced off a tower in Yeongdengpo. Cross-referenced with Petrov's known properties warehouse on Mulaidong. Registered to a shell company. Sending coordinates now. Jae-min was moving before the message finished sending. Minho, you have the assault teams? Armed and ready. 20 men. Split into 4 groups. But boss... Minho caught his arm. A breach of protocol that spoke to years of loyalty. If she's already dead. If this is just bait. Then I'll burn the city until there's nothing left but ash and answers. Jae-min's voice could have etched glass. Either way, Petrov dies tonight. The warehouse in Muladong squatted among industrial decay like a tombstone. Rusted metal, broken windows, the kind of place Seoul forgot existed until bodies turned up. Amara counted ceiling tiles to keep from screaming. 23 visible, 4 cracked. The zip ties had rubbed her wrists raw. Petrov's men, 5 that she'd counted, spoke in Russian and Korean, weapons casual at their sides. She'd stopped testing the restraints after the first guard had backhanded her, splitting her already healing lip. The pain was clarifying, in a way. Reminded her she was still alive. For now. Your boyfriend's taking his time, Petrov observed, checking his watch. It's been 43 minutes. Maybe he's not as attached as I thought. He's not my boyfriend. The words hurt more than the split lip. No? Then what is he? Amara didn't have an answer. Rescuer. Temptation. The man who'd shown her safety and danger wore the same face. The one she'd run from because staying would have meant accepting a world where violence was currency and love was leverage. The one she couldn't stop thinking about, even knowing what he was. He's the man who'll kill you for this, she said finally. Petrov laughed. I certainly hope so. That's rather the point of kidnapping his weakness. I'm not his weakness. Then why are my men reporting fires at 3 of my properties? Why is half of Seoul's underworld mobilizing? Petrov crouched in front of her, eyes cold as Siberian winter. You left him. Yet he's burning my empire for you. That sounds like weakness to me. The warehouse's metal door shrieked open. Everyone turned, weapons rising. A figure stood silhouetted against streetlights, hands visible and empty. Jae-min walked into the light. He looked different. No expensive suit, just black tactical gear that spoke of serious violence. Blood spattered his collar, not his, from the way he moved. His face was a mask of controlled fury, eyes scanning the room with predatory precision. He found Amara, and something flickered behind the mask. Relief, rage, recognition. Let her go, he said, voice carrying despite not being raised. And I'll make your death quick. Petrov stood, genuinely delighted. Kang Jae-min, the wolf himself. I expected more men. They're outside, surrounding the building, eliminating your guards. Jae-min's attention never left Petrov. It's already over. This is just the epilogue. Is it? Petrov produced a gun, pressed it to Amara's temple. She flinched but didn't cry out, teeth gritted. Because my epilogue involves her brains decorating that wall unless you do exactly what I say. Jae-min's expression didn't change, but Amara saw his hand twitch toward the weapon she knew he carried. Saw him calculate angles, odds, outcomes. Saw him realize he couldn't move fast enough. What do you want? The question came out flat, dead. I want you to kneel. Petrov's smile was triumphant. The great wolf of Gangnam on his knees. Then we'll discuss terms. Outside, gunfire erupted. Screams cut short. The sound of Jae-min's people doing what they did best. But in here, in this moment, Petrov had the only leverage that mattered. Jae-min met Amara's eyes across the warehouse. In that look, she saw everything he couldn't say: apology, promise, goodbye. Saw him make the choice between pride and her life. He knelt. Good, Petrov purred. Now, Amara moved. She'd been working the zip tie against the chair's metal edge for 20 minutes, abrading plastic molecule by molecule. The moment Petrov's attention shifted to Jae-min, she snapped the weakened restraint and drove her shoulder into his gun arm. The weapon discharged, deafening in the enclosed space. The bullet went wide. Jae-min was already moving, weapon clearing leather with practiced speed. His first shot took the guard to Petrov's left center mass. Professional, final. His second caught the man raising a rifle behind Amara. Then chaos. Petrov grabbed Amara, using her as a shield. Jaemin's men poured through doors she hadn't seen, muzzle flashes strobing the darkness. The world became thunder and cordite, and the hot breath of death passing close enough to feel. Someone screamed. Might have been her. Petrov dragged her backward, toward a rear exit, gun wild but dangerous. I'll kill her. Jaemin's shot was surgical, precise, threading the gap between Amara's ear and Petrov's shoulder. The Russian's grip loosened just enough. Amara dropped, making herself small. Jaemin's second shot didn't miss. Petrov's body hit concrete with the finality of an empire falling. Blood spread beneath him, black in the sodium lights, his eyes staring at something beyond ceiling tiles and broken promises. Silence crashed down. Jaemin crossed the warehouse in 3 strides, falling to his knees beside Amara. His hands that had just killed with clinical efficiency, touched her face with infinite gentleness. Are you hurt? Did he? I'm okay. She was shaking, shock setting in. You came. Of course I came. His thumb brushed her cheekbone, came away bloody from a cut she hadn't felt. I'll always come. Distance, danger, death, none of it matters. You call, I answer. That's the deal. What deal? I left you. And I let you go because I thought it would keep you safe. Jaemin's voice cracked, the mask finally breaking. But safe doesn't exist. Not in this city. Not in my world. So fuck safe. Fuck smart. I'm choosing you. Amara stared at him, this beautiful, broken man who killed people and saved lives, and looked at her like she was the only thing anchoring him to humanity. Your world will get me killed, she whispered. Probably. He didn't lie, didn't sugarcoat. But my world without you in it is already death. Slower, but just as final. Around them, his men were securing the warehouse, dealing with bodies, making problems disappear. The machinery of the underworld, efficient and remorseless. I don't know if I can do this, Amara admitted. Neither do I. Jaemin's forehead touched hers, breath mingling. But I know 3 weeks without you nearly destroyed me. Know I burned half of Petrov's empire in 40 minutes when I thought you were in danger. Know that kneeling was the easiest choice I've ever made. You kneeled. I would have crawled through glass, would have given him my empire, my life, anything he wanted. His hands trembled against her face. You're not my weakness, Amara. You're the only thing that makes me strong enough to be something other than a monster. The words hung between them, heavy with truth and terror and impossible possibility. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. Promise me something. Anything. Promise you'll always tell me the truth. No matter how dark, how dangerous. I can't do this if I'm living half blind. Jaemin pulled back enough to meet her eyes. I promise. Full truth, full choice. Even when it costs me. Then here's my truth. Amara's hands found his, bloody and scarred, in hers. I love you. I'm terrified of you. I'm terrified of losing you. And I'm too tired to run anymore. The wolf of Gangnam. The man who'd built an empire on violence and fear. Who'd faced down death without flinching, he broke. Tears cut tracks through the blood and cordite on his face as he kissed her, desperate and gentle and absolutely certain. I will always come, he promised against her lips. No matter what, no matter when. You call, I answer. Even if it's the wrong number? He smiled, broken and beautiful. Especially then. Outside, sirens wailed. His men moved with practiced efficiency, cleaning up the aftermath of a war that had ended with one woman's choice. Inside, 2 people who'd found each other across a midnight text and a basement door held each other in the ruins and chose the beautiful, terrible thing called love. The aftermath took hours. Bodies removed, evidence sanitized, bribes distributed to the police who arrived too late to prevent but early enough to collect. Jaemin's people moved like surgeons through the warehouse, excising violence until nothing remained but empty space and the ghost of gunfire. Amara sat wrapped in Minho's jacket, watching Seoul's underworld machinery process carnage into non-existence. She should have been horrified, should have been running. Instead, she felt numb, distant, like she was watching through glass. Shock? Minho explained, crouching beside her while Jaemin dealt with police. Normal response to this kind of stress. It'll pass. Might take days, might take minutes. Does it ever stop? She asked. The fear? No, you just get better at functioning through it. He offered a flask. Whiskey. Helps. She drank, coughed, drank again. The burn was grounding. Across the warehouse, Jae-min shook hands with a police captain, money changing hands beneath respectful bows. The captain nodded, gestured to his men, and within minutes the official presence evaporated like morning fog. Jae-min returned, kneeling in front of her. Can you walk? I think so. Medic's outside. Need you checked for injuries. I'm fine. Amara. His voice carried weight. Let the medic check you. Please. She nodded, too tired to argue. Let herself be led into the humid Seoul night, where a man with kind eyes and medical supplies did professional things that involved bright lights and gentle touches and quiet pronouncements that she'd been lucky. Lucky. The word tasted wrong. Mild concussion, bruising, lacerations, the medic told Jae-min in Korean, probably assuming she wouldn't catch the details. No serious trauma. She should rest. Avoid stress. He stopped, recognizing the absurdity. She'll heal physically. The other healing would take longer. The penthouse felt different when they returned near dawn. Less like sanctuary, more like a place where two damaged people might try building something from ruins. Jae-min started to guide Amara to the guest room, then stopped. Where do you want to be? Not where should you sleep. Where do you want to be? Choice. He'd promised her choice. With you, she said quietly. I don't want to be alone. His bedroom was surprisingly simple king bed, minimal furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows, showing Seoul's first light. He gestured to the bathroom. Showers there. Clothes in the closet. Take whatever you need. Aren't you? I'll shower after. Don't want to crowd you. Such careful distance. Even now. Especially now. Amara showered until the water ran cold, watching blood and cordite circle the drain. When she emerged, she found one of Jae-min's shirts laid out soft cotton that smelled like cedar and something uniquely him. She found him on the terrace, smoking a cigarette with the concentration of a man trying not to think. Didn't know you smoked. He glanced back, eyes tracking over her in his shirt. Only after I kill people. Helps quiet the noise. Does it work? No. He stubbed it out anyway. But hope springs eternal. Amara joined him at the railing. Seoul, spreading below them in morning gold. How many people have you killed? The question should have been accusatory. Instead, it was just curious. Personally, 23 before tonight, 26 after. He didn't flinch from the truth. Ordered killed? More. Lost count around 50. Does it get easier? No. It just becomes normal, which is worse. They stood in silence, watching the city wake up oblivious to the night's violence. I meant it, Jae-min said finally. What I said in the warehouse. I'm choosing you, which means, he took a breath, which means changes. I've been running this empire alone for 15 years. Maybe it's time to step back. Amara's head turned sharply. What? Not step down. I'm not naive enough to think I can just walk away. People depend on me. Territories would collapse, but delegate more. Pull back from the street-level violence. His hands gripped the railing. Build something that doesn't require me to kill every week. You'd do that for me? For us. For the possibility of us. He looked at her, vulnerable in the dawn light. I can't promise to be good, can't promise to be safe, but I can promise to try being something other than just the wolf. Amara's throat tightened. What if I can't handle it? What if I wake up one day and realize I can't live with what you do? Then you leave, and I let you. No chase, no persuasion. Just, his voice caught, just hope that you come back when you're ready. You'd let me go again? Keeping you against your will would make me grant. The comparison was savage, self-aware. So yes, I'd let you go. I'd hate it. I'd probably destroy some property and be insufferable to work with. But I'd let you go. She studied him, this man who'd killed for her, kneeled for her, was promising to change his entire life for her. The impossibility of it all should have sent her running. Instead, she stepped closer. I'm not leaving. Not now, anyway. Her hand found his. But I need time. Space to process. Therapy, probably. Done. There's a doctor I know, trauma specialist. Works with people in difficult situations. Completely confidential. You have a therapist on retainer for mob trauma? Several, actually. Occupational hazard. The absurdity made her laugh. Slightly hysterical. Here they were, discussing therapy and murder in the same breath, watching sunrise after a night soaked in violence. This is insane, she said. Completely. We're going to fail. This relationship, it's doomed. Probably. But you're willing to try anyway? Jae-min turned fully toward her, both hands cradling her face with desperate gentleness. Amara, I've spent 15 years building an empire that means nothing. You make me feel something other than empty. So yes, I'm willing to try, willing to fail, willing to watch it all burn if it means even a chance at something real. She kissed him then, tasting cigarettes and promises and the salt of her own tears. His arms came around her like shelter, like chains, like the complicated thing called choice. When they broke apart, Seoul was fully awake below them. I should warn you, Jae-min said against her hair. My world, it's going to test this. Other organizations will see you as leverage. My own people might resent the changes. There will be threats. I survived Grant, survived Petrov. I'm harder to break than I look. I know. Watched you snap that zip tie and move without hesitation. He stopped, searching for words. You're brave in ways I'm not. You knelt in a warehouse with a gun to my head. That wasn't brave. That was necessity. You're alive, therefore anything else is negotiable. The simplicity of it, the absolute certainty, made her heart ache. Teach me, she said. Teach you what? How to survive in your world. Self-defense, awareness, whatever I need to not be a liability. Jae-min pulled back, searching her face. You're serious. If I'm staying informed. No more surprises. No more being the helpless victim. Steel entered her voice. I choose this. I choose you, but I choose with eyes open and skills ready. Pride flickered across his face. I can arrange that, and I want to help. Help? Your empire, you said. People depend on it. What if we made it depend less on violence? What if... She gestured vaguely, the idea forming as she spoke. What if we use the money for something good? A foundation for abuse victims. Safe houses. Legal aid. Jae-min stared at her like she'd suggested flying to the moon. You want to launder Mafia money through charity? I want to make something good from something bad. You've spent 15 years building power. Maybe it's time to use it differently. The idea hung between them. Radical and ridiculous and somehow perfect. That could work, he said slowly. Not immediately, there are logistics, legal structures, but long-term. He smiled, real and surprised. You're going to completely upend my empire, aren't you? Only if you let me. Then consider yourself let. They stood on the terrace as Seoul's morning traffic began its symphony. Two people from impossible worlds trying to build something new from the rubble of the old. It wouldn't be easy. Wouldn't be safe. Might not even be possible. But watching sunrise paint gold across Jae-min's face, feeling his arms solid around her, Amara thought maybe, just maybe, the wrong number had been exactly right all along. 3 months later, autumn painted Seoul in bronze and gold. The Foundation's office occupied the 3rd floor of a building in Itaewon, far enough from Jae-min's business to maintain separation, close enough that his people could provide security. Amara stood in the conference room, reviewing applications from women seeking safe housing, legal aid, job training. The irony wasn't lost on her, using Mafia money to help people escape exactly the kind of violence that funded it. But Jae-min had been right about one thing. You couldn't build empires without leverage, and you couldn't dismantle them without using what they'd created. So she used it. 37 applications this month, her assistant Sunmi reported. Up from 22 last month. Word spreading. Can we accommodate them all? If boss approves the additional property acquisition in Gangnam. Boss. The word still jarred. Even 3 months in, Jae-min's world had sharp edges that didn't smooth with familiarity, just became more visible, more visceral, but also more purposeful. Her phone buzzed. Speak of the devil. Dinner at 7? Have something to show you. Jay. She smiled despite herself. They'd fallen into routines. Breakfast on the terrace when his schedule allowed. Dinners when Seoul's Underworld granted him evenings. Nights tangled together in the king bed, learning each other's scars. And therapy. So much therapy. Dr. Choi had been invaluable, helping Amara process trauma from Grant, from Petrov, from choosing a life where violence was always one bad decision away. Helping her understand that healing wasn't linear, that choosing Jae-min didn't mean endorsing everything he did, that love and fear could coexist without one canceling the other. Tell him yes, Amara replied, and that I want Korean barbecue. Such specific demands. He's spoiling you. He's attempting to. I'm making him work for it. Sunmi laughed. The staff has a pool going on how long until he proposes. Amara's heart did something complicated. That's premature. Is it? You practically live at his penthouse. You're running a foundation funded by his empire. He looks at you like you're the reason gravity works. We're taking it slow. Boss Kang doesn't do slow. He does calculated or reckless. With you, he's somehow both. The observation was uncomfortably accurate. Dinner wasn't at a restaurant. The car driven by Min-ho, who'd become something like a friend through proximity and shared experience, took them north, out of Seoul proper into forested hills where the city's lights became distant constellations. "Where are we going?" Amara asked. Jaemin's hand found hers, familiar warmth. "You'll see." They pulled up to a cemetery, old, well-maintained, cherry trees dormant for winter. Jae-min led her through rows of graves until they reached one set slightly apart. Fresh flowers already placed. Kang Min-seo, beloved sister, her light endures. Amara's breath caught. He'd never brought her here, had mentioned his sister, had shared pieces of that grief. But this was sacred ground. "I wanted you to meet her," Jae-min said quietly. "Wanted to finally do what I promised 15 years ago." "What promise?" "That I'd bring someone who mattered, someone who'd understand why I became what I became." He knelt, brushing leaves from the stone with gentle reverence. "I'm sorry it took so long, Min-seo. I got lost for a while. Built all the wrong things for all the wrong reasons." His voice cracked, and Amara knelt beside him, hand on his shoulder. "But I found my way back. Because of her." Jae-min looked at Amara, eyes bright. "Because someone sent a wrong text to exactly the right number, and I got a second chance to answer when it mattered." Tears tracked down Amara's face. "Jae-min, I'm stepping back," he said, still speaking to both of them. "Not all the way, can't, won't pretend I can. But delegating more. Min-ho's taking over day-to-day operations. I'm focusing on legitimate businesses, the foundation, building something that won't require me to kill to maintain. Your people will hate that. Some will. Others understand it's time." He touched the gravestone gently. "I've been the wolf long enough. Maybe I can be something else now. Maybe I can keep the promise I made you to be better than what killed you." Silence settled, broken only by wind through cherry branches. "She'd be proud of you," Amara said softly. "For changing. For choosing different. Think so? Know so. You loved her enough to become a monster for her. Now you're loving her enough to stop being one." Jaemin's hand found hers again, scarred fingers interlacing. "I love you too. Should probably say that more. You show it. That's enough." "Is it?" He turned fully toward her, and Amara saw something shift in his expression, resolve settling into place. "Because I want to show it differently. Want to promise you things I've never promised anyone." He reached into his jacket, and Amara's heart stopped. "I'm not proposing," he said quickly, reading her panic. "Not yet. You're right that it's too soon. But I want you to have this. A key. Simple, silver, ordinary. To the penthouse? To everything. The penthouse, the cars, the accounts. If something happens to me and in my world, it might you're protected, provided for. No questions, no conditions." He pressed it into her palm. "You get to choose, Amara. Stay, leave, come back. The door's always open, and this key makes it yours to open." Amara stared at the small piece of metal, understanding its weight. This was trust, vulnerability, the kind of gift that couldn't be bought or taken back. "What if I use it to run?" "Then you run. And I hope you come back. But even if you don't, you'll be safe. That's what matters." She closed her fingers around the key, feeling its promise. "You're infuriating, you know that? Making it impossible not to love you. Is it working?" "Unfortunately." She kissed him, tasting salt and promises, and the complicated thing called forever. "I'm keeping the key, and I'm staying. And when you do eventually propose—" "Eventually?" I might even say yes. His smile could have lit the darkening cemetery. "Might. Depends on the ring. I have standards." Jae-min laughed, the sound echoing among the graves. And for the first time since his sister died, the sound held no ghosts. They stayed until full dark, telling Min-seo about the foundation, about their plans, about the strange and beautiful way two broken people were learning to be whole together. When they finally left, Amara looked back once at the grave, at the flowers and the promise kept, and whispered her own thanks to the sister she'd never met but who'd shaped everything. Epilogue. 1 year later. The Foundation's annual gala filled the Shilla Hotel's ballroom with Seoul's elite, legitimate and otherwise. Amara moved through the crowd in a dress that cost more than her first car, shaking hands with donors who had no idea their contributions were being matched 10 to 1 by cleaned Mafia money. Jae-min watched from the bar, Minho beside him, both in immaculate suits. She's good at this, Minho observed. The schmoozing, the politics, better than you ever were. She actually cares. That helps. Jae-min tracked her progress, the way she made each person feel important, valued. Empire building's easier when you're building something worth having. Speaking of empires, the transition's complete. Legitimate businesses are profitable. Street operations are mostly autonomous. You're basically retired. Semi-retired. Still take important meetings. You mean the ones Amara makes you take to maintain connections. She's strategic like that. Minho grinned. So when are you proposing? Bold of you to assume I haven't. Have you? Jaemin's hand went to his pocket, feeling the small box he'd been carrying for 3 weeks, waiting for the right moment. Thinking about it. Don't think too long. Woman like that, someone might steal her. They'd have to get through me first. That's the wolf talking. The wolf's never left. Just learned better when to hunt. Across the room, Amara caught his eye and smiled. The kind of smile that made 15 years of darkness worth surviving. She excused herself from a conversation and started toward him, graceful and purposeful and his. Going to do it now? Minho asked. Maybe, maybe not. She'll let me know when it's right. Because that was their deal, she led in the light. He followed from the shadows, and together they built something neither could have created alone. A foundation that helped hundreds. A life that balanced danger with meaning. A love that started with a wrong number and became the most right thing either of them had ever chosen. Amara reached them, slipping under Jaemin's arm like she belonged there, which she did. Good turnout, she said. You did well. We did well, she corrected him gently. Your money, my organizing, partnership. Speaking of partnerships. Jae-min started, then stopped, feeling the box in his pocket, seeing the way she looked at him with absolute trust despite knowing exactly what he was. Yes, Amara prompted. He could do it now, could drop to one knee in front of Seoul's elite, make the grand gesture, claim her publicly. Instead, he kissed her temple and said, later, when it's just us, because some promises were too important for crowds. Some answers deserved midnight terraces and dawn light. Some love stories that started with fear and wrong numbers deserved endings written in privacy and choice. Later, Amara agreed, understanding immediately. But Jae-min? Yes. The answer's already yes. His heart stopped. You knew? I've known for months. Been waiting for you to ask. She smiled, wicked and warm. But take your time. I'm not going anywhere. The wolf of Gangnam, the man who'd built empires and broken promises, who'd learned to love through loss and found redemption through a midnight text, he laughed. And in the middle of a gala filled with souls powerful and corrupt, Kang Jae-min and Amara Cole held each other and chose their impossible future together. The wrong number had been perfect all along.